Summer has finally arrived down under here in Australia, and there are a lot of open road rides coming up. And today is the start of my long-term review of these, the Pirelli P0 Race TLR tubeless tyre. Now, Pirelli sent these over a few months ago. I've been busy wearing out my other tyres before getting to these, but today they go on the bike. And in this video, what I'm going to cover is the manufacturer specification, so all the details about these tyres. I jump a little beyond that and we look at the data over on BicycleRollingResistance.com, a good independent source of rolling resistance for bicycle tyres. I'll then pull out the weight scales on these in the Lama garage and see what they weigh in as. I'll then try to install them without any tools. Good luck with that. We'll take a few more measurements, and if I didn't mention already, these are tubeless. And if you've seen my other tubeless videos, this could get interesting. I don't have time for this. I want to get out and ride. We're going back to tubes for a while. Okay, kicking off with the technical specifications of those tyres. The Pirelli P0 Race TLR comes in two different versions. We have the Race TLR and the Race TLR SL. Both the same tyres, they both come in different widths, except the Race TLR SL does not have the puncture protection band, as shown here. I have the non-SL version, so we do have the puncture protection. Onto the website for this, they claim the TechWall Plus road carcass improves reliability against punctures. They also state here it has a special Smart Evo compound which enhances the grip, etc, etc. They're no standards as such, they're just marketing terms with how the tyre is built. But when the rubber hits the road, that's what it's all about. I tried to come up with a dad joke about that, but that's the best I can do. Two other footnotes that are important with these tyres is the Race TLR 28 and the 30 are compatible with hookless rims, because there are different standards for tubeless rims now, and the 24s and the 26s are not compatible with hookless rims. The alloy rims that I have are hooked, so we're all good there. Now jumping into another favourite website of mine, BicycleRollingResistance.com, a fantastic resource for all things tyres, rolling, tubes, and you name it. Their review of the Pirelli P0 Race TLR comes out pretty good. So they give it a 4.5, highly recommended. That's their conclusion on this tyre. If we scroll down a little further, they were testing the 26mm, so exactly the same tyre as I have to put on the bike today. Their comparative data against the Continental GP5000 TL shows it's a little bit lighter in the tubeless version. That's a tick from me. Scrolling down into the rolling resistance side of things. Now, because this does have the puncture protection band or the layer on it, it's not topping the charts there. It's a little slower than the other tyres as compared. However, it's not all bad news. If we roll down to the puncture protection side of things, it tops the charts on both the tread puncture protection and the sidewall protection. So there's a tick there. Swings and roundabouts all the way. Jumping down to their conclusion, we rate the Pirelli P0 Race tyre 4.5 out of 5 as we think this is a great tyre that can outperform the Continental GP5000 tubeless in all our tests except the rolling resistance tests. Jumping over to the head-to-head comparison, which you can do on BicycleRollingResistance.com. Again, it's why I like this site. You can really dig down into the details. And we can see here up against the GP5000 tubeless, that outperforms the Pirelli in all rolling resistance tests. And then the tables turn. The Pirelli is a little better for the weight, sidewall thickness, tread thickness, puncture on the sidewall, and puncture on the tread. So swings and roundabouts with this tyre. Do you want a super fast tyre with less puncture protection, or do you want a relatively fast tyre with more puncture protection? It's your choice what to go with. We'll see how these Pirellis stack up. Now, the error in my comparison here is that I'm comparing the Pirellis to the GP5000 TLs, which aren't on the bike that I'm switching tyres on today. What's on that bike are these. The Vittoria Rubino Pro G Plus 2.0 2019s. And you can see there with a quick comparative data, the Pirellis outperform that tyre in every area. Okay, and without further ado, let's go get these on the bike and out on the road. First up, putting these on the scales here in the Lama garage. The first tyre weighing in at 269 grams, so 1 gram below spec. That's not too bad. The second tyre, which should be identical, weighing in at 278 grams. Interesting. Another observation is the word TLR26 printed and raised along the bead. I'm not sure if that's going to cause any problems. Hopefully it shouldn't, but haven't seen that on any other tyres. Wear indicators on the tyre there, and those little nodules. I don't like having those on the bike, so I do go through them and pick those off. It'd be good to see those not on high-end tyres though. All out of the sealant from last week, so I've picked up another bottle, and there is a lot to go around for that. I also have the Cycling sealant injector. We have the valves ready to go and the core remover. Oh, and the faithful sponge for the warm, soapy water, which does help. Preparation for these rims, I've fully cleaned them, and I have put new tubeless compatible rim tape on this wheel here. So that is nice and shiny, ready to go. This one here, the rim tape should be good to go, but I have cleaned it of all the old sealant and any gunk that was in there previously. Okay, onto the real work now. Getting these tyres on the rim, and first up, getting the valve installed. So poking a hole through the new rim tape, putting a little bit of sealant around the base of the valve before getting that inserted and screwed in nice and tight so it doesn't go anywhere. Out comes the soapy water on the tyre. Just a really light amount of soapy water. Not a lot at all, just enough to make the tyre slip on. And I did say I would try to install these tyres without tools. And trust me, I tried. And I tried. And I tried. And I tried. Obviously dropping to my knees does help, but I still wasn't able to just... I started fatiguing. My arm FTP is quite low, so I gave up. I grabbed the tyre lever, and with absolutely no effort whatsoever, it pops straight on like that. I don't know why I just wasted the last 5 minutes trying to do it without tools. Now with that on, we'll try and install the other side, again, without tools. I set myself the challenge, but I failed in both instances. Pulling out the tyre lever again for this one and just popping it over the top. Doesn't take much at all. I just didn't have that strength in the fingers. A little bit of soapy water around the outside of the bead. And then onto the floor pump. I'm going to try and seat these with a floor pump first. And the next one we'll try with the air compressor. And we have success. That thing's seated perfectly with just the floor pump. Absolute perfection. Okay, now it's onto the sealant. 40mm sealant. We'll put in these, even though they do have that puncture protection layer with the non-SL version of these tyres. Still going with 40mm. Hopefully that gives me some insurance against having to stop any of my rides and get messy out on the road. Putting a sealant in on an angle, I still managed to get it everywhere, but most of it goes where it needs to go. Valve core back in, pumping back up. I'm pretty confident it's going to reseat with the floor pump this time. It's on and spinning. Shake it all about, give the tyre a bit of a clean. These are rim brake wheels, so we make sure they're nice and clean of all the sealant and gunk. Okay, rinse and repeat for the rear tyre using the exact same procedure. However, I will try and seat the tyre this time with the air compressor. Stay tuned for that. It'll be the very first time I've tried this. So the valve is in without the core. A little bit of soapy water. Lining the logo up with the valve. And trying to get these on without tools. And giving up pretty quickly. And popping the other side over onto the rim. Again, trying to do it without tools, and then giving up and just resorting to using the tool because it doesn't take too much anyway. And this time we'll pull out the air compressor. Because I've purchased it, I need to see if it works. But safety first, glasses on. And we'll see what this is all about. Now, everyone has said, get an air compressor. It's the best way to seat these tyres. We're just about to find out if they're right. And, oh my God, why was I using the floor pump? Within seconds, the tyre was on the bead and job done. Absolutely phenomenally easy. Another 40mm of sealant for the rear. And because I didn't think ahead far enough, I don't have a pressed valve head for the air compressor, so it's back to the floor pump for the final inflation. But it's all too easy. A few pumps and it's up. And it's job done. The width of these tyres at 80 psi on these 19mm internal rims comes out at just over 26.5mm. And it's finally time to take these out on the road onto my standard sheep patrol loop. So just 43 Ks, 32 degrees Celsius, so quite a warm day, but great to be out in the fresh air. And thankfully, swooping season is over. This is the very section of road that I was being harassed by magpies just a few weeks back. Right-hand turn from Lake Learmonth. Heading east, back towards town. Did I mention it was a beautiful day on the bike? It was definitely a beautiful day out on the bike. Running 80 psi back and front, you can see the tyre compressed there a little bit. With beautiful slow-mo, 240 frames per second shot there with the GoPro Hero 9. That's about as creative as I can get with a camera at this point in time. Onto something a little faster, and that's that run into town with a nice northerly wind, sitting on about 50 Ks an hour here. These tyres humming along just nicely. Now, it's not all long straight roads for this ride. Actually, it kind of is. There's only about 3 corners. This being one of them. Taking it some speed here. And no issues at all. On to the lessons learned from today, and I think I've just confirmed what I already knew about road tubeless tyres, and that is installing them brand new is a breeze. Speaking of a breeze, the air compressor method. Now, everybody who's commented on my other road tubeless videos, you were right, and I should have had an air compressor all along. That was seconds to get that tyre inflated and beaded, not a problem whatsoever. I do, however, need to get myself a pressed head so I can pump tyres up with the valve core in, using the air compressor. As for the ride feel of these tyres, using them at 80 psi, well, I've only ridden 43 Ks, about 90 minutes out on the road, so I'm not really in a position to tell you anything much about the tyres. They rode fine. I'll put a few thousand kilometres on them, many hours, and then I'll report back. So, road tubeless, let me know your thoughts below. I now have feet again on both sides of the fence. Hopefully the fence doesn't need repairing, because that's where I come unstuck. As always, thanks for watching this one, and we'll see you soon.